All right, welcome everybody. This is going to be a weekly recap for this week ending on April 8th, 2022. So, going to be talking about a couple things. First of all, after we look at our stats for the week, I want to talk about a really important subject. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see all new traders make, and I see it by their questions. I get the questions all the time, is they're always chasing after a trader's performance. All right. So I want to address that because a trader's performance means absolutely nothing. All right. How much somebody made or how much somebody lost is actually, particularly if you're a successful trader, it's really dishonest. It's very dishonest for somebody to show somebody that they made 100,000 or 200,000 or 300,000 or maybe only 50,000 a year, because that has absolutely no bearing on whether you're going to be a successful trader or not. And I'm going to give you a little bit of story, and I'm going to talk about that, and we'll get into that. But that's there's also a link that I included in this week's email. It's a link talks about the common investor and trader blunders. It's a really good little article. Read about that. But one of the things a lot of new traders make, and traders that have been around for a long time, they're always chasing performance, and it's the wrong thing to be looking at, particularly if you want to be, your own trader. If you want to be an independent trader, somebody's performance really has no bearing whether you're going to be successful or not. So we'll get into that in just a little bit. But let's look at our stats. Let's look at our stats for the week on the core strategy, and then we'll get into talking about these blunders that a lot of traders make. Okay, so here we are. This is, once again, as you've been watching us for the last several years, this is, we continue to track the PAP. Now, let me explain that in my core package, I have 5 different patterns that I teach you. Also teach you the 4 different dimensions of trading that you must look at before you put on any trade. But what we're looking at today is we're just looking at PAP, strictly PAP. That's one of the names of one of the 5 patterns that I will teach you, and we're looking at this only on one dimension. And so as we start adding more dimensions, obviously we can increase our probability of success, but the idea is just to let you know that starting off just on one dimension, which is the actual setup pattern, it has a very high probability of being a successful trade, and that's the purpose of this. And that's why I call it a naked setup, because we're not looking at it through all different 4 dimensions, just looking at it through one dimension. And so basically this is assumed that you just blindly were to take the trade. So I don't recommend, once again, blindly taking a trade. Remember, trading is not mechanical. It will never be mechanical, and I'll be talking more about that in just a little bit. But trading is never mechanical. Once again, that's something I think a lot of new traders, and if you are a new trader, we all fall into it. I used to fall into it back when I first started back in the 80s, is we all think there's some sort of magic formula out there, or there's a magic indicator out there, or there's a pattern out there. Well, there are some things that are better than others, and there are some patterns that are reliable and they hold up over time. All right, but there's very few things that I can say that can do that, particularly like indicators and so forth, depending on how you use those indicators. But when you're talking about short-term trading, really the best thing you can do, and that will have reliability, is looking at a pattern. The other thing about patterns is that just not any pattern. So if I find a pattern that works real strong in the Aussie US, okay, I also want to see that exact same pattern work in, say, gold or silver, or maybe even a stock, okay, and that becomes what I call universal pattern, because it's a pattern that works in everything. I would rather trade a universal pattern on Aussie US than finding just a pattern that only works in the Aussie US. All right, and that's what these patterns are. These patterns that I teach I call them behavioral patterns, is something that I've been using since the late 80s, all right, when I first discovered them. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But you can see overall, Aussie US, Euro US, and the US yen still had very nice performance for the week. This is the morning percentages and the evening percentages. Once again, this is assuming you carry it to the close, and you're not doing any filtration. So you can still see the only really weak evening that we had was overall in the Euro US. But you look at your daily results. Look at what we did in the yen at night. I am trading more now for the Aussie US and the Euro US. Euro US is always going to be my main pair unless things change, but I continue to trade mainly the Euro or the US yen, and I'm also trading now the Aussie US. Those are my focus right now, and that could change. I may decide to trade the Euro US in several more weeks, but I think I'm seeing a lot more strength right now in the Aussie US for my patterns than I am in the US yen. But that's, once again, my personal preference. You can trade any of them as long as you use the filtration, okay? Remember, this is without filtration, okay? I also want to let you know that when it comes to looking at probabilities, the best you're going to see is somewhere in the 70 to 75%. Over a long-term basis, because there is a degree of noise in the market. So anybody that tells you they're trading constantly at 80% or 90%, they're probably not telling you the truth, because there's noise in the market you can't predict. All right, and so that's the problem. So we're pretty much at that upper threshold of what we would expect in terms of predictability. But just because I have high probabilities doesn't mean I'm going to be successful. You still have to learn how to read the whole market, be more of a holistic approach than just taking a buy or sell signal based on some sort of pattern or an indicator or however you want to trade. It just never works that way. There are good tools, and you want to use those tools, but the tools don't make you successful. And a lot of people think they chase after tools thinking that that's what's going to make them successful. And, like I said, it goes back to the analogy of the professional quarterback, right? He can give you all his plays. He can give you all his equipment. He can put you in the quarterback seat on his, on the Super Bowl winning team. And does that mean because you have all of that, all of a sudden now you're going to be a professional quarterback? No. So it's the same thing with trading. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of time. Yeah, there are better tools than others, but just because you have a good tool doesn't mean you're going to trade it successfully. You have to work at using that tool, assuming that it's a reliable tool, right? And that it holds up over time and it's good in all markets. But you still have to work at it to become a successful trader. And I hate to tell you that there's a lot of misinformation out there selling you stuff that will never make you successful. All right. And they make it look so easy, but that is a disservice, and I think it's also dishonest. And that's why I want to talk about this chasing of performance. People that talk about how much they've made, I think that's really a disservice to you. And we'll get into that in just a minute. But overall for the week, wasn't bad overall for the week. Also keep in mind that we do now have our daily show, so make sure that you're joining us first thing in the morning. We are live from 9 to 10 Eastern Time every morning on YouTube. Just go to my YouTube channel, binaryprostrategies.com. I'm going to be, I do trade indices. I trade some commodities. And also I will be calling out some of these PAP trades, okay, for the Aussie and the Euro and the US yen. So you can kind of get a feel for whether I'm successful or not and whether it works for you or not. So please join us every morning, 9 to 10 Eastern Time on my YouTube channel, binaryprostrategies.com. And okay, let's talk about chasing performance. All right, so let's talk about chasing trading performance. I just brought up some charts here. By the way, these are going to be charts that you're going to see every morning, okay, in the live broadcast. First hour is absolutely free to non-subscribers, and I will be calling out trades on the ES and the RTY, YM, NQ, which is your US Tech. I watch gold, silver, watch crude, natural gas, Bitcoin, and of course our three main ones for the core strategy: Aussie US, Euro US, and the US yen. Okay, so let's talk about chasing performance. So I want to go back to the 80s, all right? And this is my story. Back then, I was a brand new broker, and of course, I was constantly doing research. I lived and breathed research. And there was a gentleman by the name, his name is Larry Williams. And those that are not familiar with Larry Williams, definitely check him out on the website. He's the one who first got me started at looking at patterns. All right. He was the one that really started my career in finally realizing that patterns were the key to success. So he is somebody you definitely want to watch, and watch some of his videos, particularly the ones where he talks about different kind of patterns, because they do work. And I know a lot of his patterns that he had, just like a lot of my patterns, he put out 30, 40 years ago. Even I think he said back in the 60s. Those patterns are still effective today, all right? So there's no question that patterns are the way to go. My patterns, I call them behavioral patterns. He has a little bit different name for his patterns that he's looking at. But it's really all about behavior, all right? So anyway, back in, I think it may have been 1987, Larry Williams took a $10,000 account, and this can be verified. He took a $10,000 account and turned it in over $1 million within 1 year. All right. Very impressive. I don't think anybody's been able to beat that type of result. A lot of things that you don't know about that is, first of all, he was actually up $2 million during the year. So he had 10,000 went to 2 million, but he gave up $1 million of it. All right. It was a very aggressive strategy. And a big part of it was the money management approach that he used. I am both familiar with what he used, how he was using it, what patterns he was using. I'm also very familiar with the money management strategy he was using. So I was gung-ho. I was thinking, man, if this guy can take 10,000 and turn it into $1 million, I should be able to do the same thing. Well, I learned pretty quickly that I could not do the same thing. All right. And so really the point of all of this is that when we look at, when we're looking for a trading method or system or the next trading guru, all right, how much somebody makes, how much somebody loses means absolutely nothing to your success as a trader. All right. And so many people chase performance. They're always chasing performance. I saw it a lot in the commodity funds. You have a commodity fund that's up 60% 1 year and 70% the next year and 150% the next year. And you get into it and it's down 40% the next year. All right. So you've got to realize that somebody's performance, whether it's a stock trader, commodity trader, forex trader, binary option trader, their results don't mean anything for you. Because why? Because first of all, if they've been around and they've been trading for 30, 40 years like I have, their results are not typical. Do you really think it's like the professional quarterback? Do you really think that you're going to become a professional quarterback? Because here, I'm going to share you 40 years of experience and all of a sudden you're going to become a professional quarterback? Of course not. Okay, it's the same thing with trading. I can give you the best tools, all right? But I will never tell you that you're going to make $100,000 in a year. I'm not going to tell you you're going to make any money, because really I can give you the best tools that I've used and that I've been successful with, but it's still going to be up to you as a trader to whether you can make money or not. Okay? So the best thing you can do is not look after somebody's performance, because there's a lot of things that you don't see under somebody's performance. I've seen it. You've seen these people on the internet where they, they're making $100,000, a day, or $50,000, $60,000 a day. Well, there's more to the story. First of all, some of it may not be true. All right. So don't believe everything you read. It means what you read and see means absolutely nothing. Second of all, a lot of those people, particularly in stocks, are trading very low float stocks. They're trading penny stocks, right? And it doesn't take much to get those things moving. So if they tell all their followers that they're buying a stock, okay, what happens? They get in, they tell their buyers they're buying, it goes up, they make all that money, but what happens to the actual traders, their students? They end up losing money. So I've seen that. In my 40 years of trading, I know people that actually had stock services. And I knew them personally, and they would talk about how they noticed that when they got into a trade, all their followers would jump into same trade. And they didn't have a lot of followers, maybe a couple hundred followers, and he could move the stock around, just by telling somebody he's going to buy or sell it. Now he didn't trade that way and he didn't take advantage of people, but it was a real phenomenon. And I watched it and I saw that it happened. So just because somebody can show you they can make a lot of money, more than likely doesn't mean you're going to be able to do the same thing. But what can you do then? I mean, okay, so looking at somebody that makes $1 million or whatever, somebody's making a lot of money. I mean, how do you know who's good? How do you know who to follow? And there's two things you can do. Number one is you can say, okay, if you're good, let me try it for a while. All right. Let me follow it for a while. And that's why I started my morning show, because the first hour is absolutely free. All right. If somebody wants to know whether you can make money with my method, it doesn't matter whether I'm making money with my method. What matters is, can you make money with my method? All right. So that's the point. Can you make money with it? If you can't make money with it, it's not for you. It's that simple. Or anybody. So when you're following somebody, see if you can make money with their strategy, because it all gets down to you anyway. So if you can't make money with it, then that doesn't mean that somebody's strategy is not a good strategy. There's a lot of really good strategies out there. And I know a lot of very successful traders that have done very well. I couldn't trade using their strategies. I've tried, but I couldn't make money with it. Does that make me not a good trader? No, it's because it didn't fit me, right? I couldn't make money with it, but yet I see them making money with it. So that's the other thing. So first of all, can you try it? Can you see? And so that's why I provide a full hour free every morning for 1 hour, and you can watch me call out my entries, my targets, and my reversals. All right? See if that's something that's attractive to you. See if it works. See if you can make money doing it. Track it. Don't trade it, okay? But just track it. Write it down and see if you're making money at the end of the month or the end of the week, whatever the case may be. All right? So that's number one. The other thing that we do is we also give you the ability to try it, to get into my charts. I share several charts of these. And you can try it for a whole week for free. I'll actually give you some instructions on how to trade these little carrots and try it for a full week. Okay? You can't do better than that. If you can't make money with it, you can't make money with it. Don't keep doing it. So I give you the ability to try it for free in the morning. I give you the ability to try it for a whole week, where not only will I provide you with the PAP setups, but I'll also give you my overnight trades, which I put on the night before and get out the following day. You can try it for free for a whole week. You have absolutely nothing to lose. All right. That's more important than chasing somebody's performance. All right. That will tell you whether you can make money with it or not. If you can't make money with it, then it's probably one of two things. Either you don't have enough experience yet to be a trader and you need a lot more education, or maybe it just doesn't fit your personality. And that's two, because not one method or system is good for everybody. I personally am a very short-term trader. I believe in trading very short-term. For me, short-term is 5 minutes. I like to be in and out because I very strongly believe that it's the opportunities that I can get per day. Okay. So I like to have 20, 30 opportunities to hit a particular profit objective instead of maybe 1 or 2 a day. If you want to if you want to make a living out of this, it's very hard to make a living trading onesies on a daily basis. So if you want to trade like that, you have to put on a lot of size to make any money. I would rather put on small size and take small bites out of the market than put on big size and take big bites out of the market. Because when you take big bites, you also have big risk, big losses. I like to have small risk and take a lot of small bites out of the market. And that's the way that I trade. All right. So once again, don't get caught into this whole thing of how well the trader is doing that's trading. It means absolutely nothing. And for somebody to tell you that, to tell you how much they're personally making, first of all, I'd be surprised that they would even give that personal information. But second of all, it's usually not true because they're not actually doing anything. They're not actually trading. And if they are, and some of them I do know do trade and they do make a lot of money, There's a lot more that goes behind it than just that. All right. They're not following some magic formula that you can just plug into and all of a sudden make money. And so that's the other thing, just looking for that magic formula. Folks, it just never exists. It never will exist. Yeah, there's some tools that are better than others, but it's still going to take you as a trader to put in the time and the effort to do it. I have several traders that have been with me for a while that are doing this full time, that have put in the time, and the results show it, and they're extremely successful, all right? And they're not only extremely successful, but they're consistently successful. So I know I can do it. I know I can teach you, but once again, it has to fit you. For some it does, for some it doesn't. So don't get caught up in that whole thing of their performance. That will mean absolutely nothing to you. It doesn't mean you're going to be successful because you have a professional quarterback shows you how to throw a football. It doesn't mean that you're also going to be a professional quarterback. All right, he can do the best he can, which is what I do. All I can do is share my information for everybody else, and they can either use it or not use it. All right, and that's just reality. So I thought that was important that I clear that up, because I get that question a lot, and it's usually people that that are new to trading, or they're inexperienced, or maybe they haven't really thought about it. I mean, a lot of this stuff is just very common sense, right? So they haven't really thought about what it takes to be a successful trader. And a lot of times they're chasing the wrong stuff. And all you're going to end up doing is chasing your tail and you're going to get frustrated, and you're going to give up trading. You're going to say trading doesn't work, blah, 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 because you haven't given it enough time. It takes time. All right. And it takes a lot of time. You can shorten the process if you get the right mentor, but you still have to put in the effort. All right. You have to put in the effort. You have to put in the sweat, like anything else. If you want to be good at it, this is not a hobby. All right. This is a career. And if you treat it like a hobby, those are the kind of results you're going to get. It's like you might as well just go to Vegas and have fun and play the slot machine, because that's the kind of results you're going to get if you don't put the time and effort to learn about trading. Because once again, trading is more than just an indicator. It's looking at everything, a more holistic approach to the market, which is what I teach. That's what's going to make you successful. Anyway, that's going to be it. I hope that helps some people. If you have any questions, you can go to binaryprostrategies.com. Shoot me your questions. Once again, if you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up. Please make sure you subscribe. I will be putting out more videos, more educational videos as well. So make sure you hit the notification bell on that. Sign up. And until next weekend, everybody have a great trading week. Like I said, I'm going to be watching that yen quite a bit this week. And the Aussie US. That's going to be my two main followers this week when I'm trading core. All right, everybody have a good weekend. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.